Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This one is coming to you post-game, late night, after the Boston Bruins lose to the Winnipeg Jets at TD Garden, 6-2. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by our lead in-pod sponsor, Fazenda Coffee. Fazenda Coffee Roasters, located out of Dedham, can do it all. Retail and wholesale, light roast to the darkest you could find. FazendaCoffee.com/Morning Brew is the place where you'll find the Morning Brew blend, Morning Brew baseball hats, and also some Clean Canteen travel mugs are still available there. Go check out FazendaCoffee.com and specifically FazendaCoffee.com/Morning Brew for all your Morning Brew goods. Fazenda Coffee Roasters, trusted partner for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. Their expertly roasted coffee can help you at home or your business as well. They got wholesale and retail. Go check them out. All right, welcome into the show, folks. Razor, you're doing dry January, right? Have you stuck with it?
Yeah, I missed a couple of days. I had a hockey tournament, so I'm not gonna.
No, okay.
And then the one other night, but yeah, basically, I haven't had a drop other than 2 nights where it was like social to do so.
Yeah, and I've had a very little. I mean, I haven't been drinking for more or less for a long time. I mean, here and there. I'm having a beverage tonight. I think that this game is driving me to drink right now, bud. I've also taken a couple of gummies already, so I'm feeling good, or I'm gonna feel real good. The yonometer maybe have to be out for me soon. Listen, is this game? I'm just driving home, getting close to home. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, does this game really encompass, or is it a microcosm almost, Razor, of a lot of their season, in the sense of, they've had some real bad games. They've had some really good games. In this game itself, Joe Sacco said at postgame, he thought for 41 minutes, they played pretty good, pretty well. I mean, there was some real good stuff, especially tying it up early in the third on a shorty, only to see everything unravel in a matter of minutes, less than 2 minutes, literally. So is this really kind of the game that epitomizes what a completely inconsistent season this has been for the Bruins?
Yeah, I would say so. It's pretty close anyways. Just, on the same kind of frustration that you continue to feel at certain points where you feel like they're doing enough, you feel like they're right there, and then it's that one mistake. And I think there was certainly a lot taken for granted the last 12 years with this team and their ability and their layers and their structure that took a lot of those little mistakes out of the game that added up for all the other teams. Similar to, Belichick and the Patriots not beating yourself. The Bruins and Bergeron were very good at that, not beating themselves. The Zdeno Chara not beating themselves, and we see that with this group for the first time in a while. They're starting to beat themselves at just poorly timed places in the game.
So when you have teams that are beating themselves, and this is not an uncommon thing now, I'll say it, you can disagree with me. I just, they've done it way too many times this year for my liking, but they've hung in there, et cetera, et cetera. But is that a mental? Is it a physical? Is that are you seeing the signs that, we heard about paths, right? 2 weeks ago, we heard about the Bruins looking for 2 paths. Are they making the path clear for Don Sweeney and Cam Neely now by beating themselves like this? Because it's in my eyes, it's just happened too many times now.
Well, I think the path thing, I think it was I don't know. I think they're going to try and make their team better, and I don't mean by that by saying they're going to trade all their whatever draft picks they have.
They're not trading. Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
But they're going to try and make their team better. Some way, somehow, and make the organization better. And so they have decisions on guys, and we've talked about those guys before. I think that's what the business of the deadline will be. It's not a I don't know, for all you guys out there that are listening, or girls that are hoping for a tear down retool, that think retool means trading anybody of value. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's going to be business decisions. And I also don't think that I think they're going to be very patient on this, and they're going to make decisions after the team gets out of the break. I just don't see them pulling triggers when they haven't had Hampus in their lineup, and they have an opportunity to have 13 days out of the break to really assess it again.
So you come into this game against one of the best teams in the entire league, definitely the best, well, not statistically the best in the West. You could argue there's a couple of other teams that are right there, and there are. The Winnipegs are the Vegas team is, I think as good, Razor. But you could also argue that, Winnipeg has done so much this year, maybe has a different feel to it. I don't think we'll know until playoffs, obviously, if this team has a different feel to it or not come playoff time. But the Bruins come out in a game that, again, you knew after coming off the Buffalo game that was so discouraging in my eyes, so little pushback after, so much went wrong in that game. And, the Bruins get down early, shorthanded, didn't like the call. Can I make an assumption you didn't like the call either, the first penalty call of the game on Marchand?
No, not ideal.
Yeah. So that happens, and then the Bruins give up power play goal. Okay, they try to handle it. You're talking about the number one power play in the National Hockey League. So holy smokes, that's 2:55 into the game, and then the Bruins, the one line that was consistently excellent for this team the first two periods was Zacha, Geekie, and Pastrnak. They get some opportunities. There might have been a few others too for the Bruins, but overall, I felt it was the catalyst was the Zacha line. But they can't get it evened up. And then at 11:31, it's Mark Scheifele who scores a beautiful tip from the Neil Pionk shot from the right point, Vasjonas Korpisalo, and it's 2-0. And you're thinking like, okay, come on, guys, like this can't be that way. It just can't be. And were you disappointed with the start? Like, kind of like there needs to be more. There needs to be, again, I think the Zacha line was bringing it, but I'm not sure if enough other guys were bringing it to the level I thought that they needed to. Razor, what did you think?
No, I think we're seeing, again, random players that, Kastelik not being in the lineup really hurts the bottom six. It really affects the bottom six. We just didn't see them at all. Certainly in the first period. I think the penalty and the power, the early goal just put them on their heels so much. That they, other than, you're right, the first line, they weren't getting enough, from that bottom six.
And the Marchand, Coyle, Lindholm line, which was put together for this game, was given the tough task of being the shutdown line against the Scheifele line, which arguably is the best line in the NHL. There's a few others that you could put right up there too, but there's no question that line is top three in the NHL. So it's a hard task. And I felt it was a tough matchup, and I'm not sure. I don't know what you do. Could you have put the Geekie Pasta Zacha line up against them? Then on the other hand, you probably wouldn't have gotten that offensive opportunities from them.
No, exactly.
It was a tough choice there. So you're right. They weren't getting much from anybody else. There was also the no goal that was overturned. The Morrissey, holy smokes, was that a shot from Morrissey? But again, now let me ask you this. And it was the correct call, and it really wasn't even close. It was easily a foot offside, or a foot offside. Would that have been one that, if it had counted, that you would have said would have been nice for Korpisalo to stop, given the distance and given, outside the dot where it came from? Or was it just one of those where you're just like, look, you're talking about an NHL All-Star, a guy who's going to Four Nations, and he just absolutely stroked it. I mean, he was on fire there with that shot.
Yeah, I would lean a little bit more to where, Tage Thompson's goal the other night, that you kind of have to get hit with it. Korpisalo would have said he's got to track it, or he's got to get more depth, or something. But again, all of that's kind of moot because it's an offside anyways, right?
And by the way, I think and you helped me out here because being the former goalie, we talked post game with Barry. We actually felt that it helped reset Korpisalo a bit there. That that reversal of call, almost like a refocus. Because I didn't feel he was bad. I just felt Brick said it on the telecast too. Is a little jumpy, a little bit rebound control issue. Would you agree with that? And I felt since that goal was overturned, I thought he was really good. I thought he was excellent, especially in the second period.
Yeah, I mean, again, the power play is so good. So that's the first goal. I mean, they're just shooting for rebound, and
Right.
like there's nothing. No one's making that save or that play. You feel like you get away with one, right?
Mhm.
You just feel like you get away with one. That's the best part of those no goals is as a goalie, you just it's like free money. You take it and it somewhere it gives you a little bit of energy or just a bit of a different vibe. Like, all right, we're gonna get out of this, okay?
All right. Well, they did get out of it, and they're down 2-0 at the 11:31 mark, and then at 15:34 they go on a power play. Marchand with a gorgeous shot from the left side, a beautiful screen by Elias Lindholm as well, who had made a nice play, wins the face-up, but then also from behind the net, along with Marchand, gets the puck, gives it back to him, and then gets to the front. You talked about it on the Nesson telecast about how it was such a good screen that it got Connor Hellebuck fading right, and then the shot beat him glove side as Marchand went high glove, and the goaltender Hellebuck, arguably, if not is it even an argument? He's the best goalie in the NHL this year, Razor. He beats him high on the glove, and he didn't even move until the puck was by him.
Yeah, no, it was perfectly designed. The timing was perfect. It was nice to see them get a goal like that on the power play where it didn't require a lot of effort or for perfect passes or for perfect plays. It was the timing just was really good. Brad had his head up the whole way, just waiting for Hellebuck to go to his right, to go to the short side, and he was going to go to his patented far side, and just really well designed and well executed.
Yeah, beautiful. And it gave the Garden life. It gives the Bruins life. They've survived this team that so far in the first period. And you're like, all right, all good. 3 seconds left in the first period, though. Brad Marchand takes a penalty on Morrissey. They're going to be teammates for the Four Nations for Team Canada. I didn't like this penalty. I called it interference. He catches from behind. I didn't see anything necessary to do that in there. And I know Brad is so intense. I know that he is, so looking to make things happen no matter when in the period. I just thought it was a bit of an ill-advised penalty. We also, talked about that as well during the intermissions. How did you see it? And then we'll talk in a moment about the goal that the Bruins score, though, coming out.
I didn't see it very well, to be honest, because I was running through the hallway. So and we were actually grabbing Brad for the interview, and then he takes a penalty that we heard. He took a penalty, so then we had to switch and the whole thing. So I didn't really see it. I know after the game he was not happy about it. He thought it was a bad call. He thought he just gave the guy a shove, but I didn't see it on the TV.
All right.
He did comment about it in the scrum and was not happy.
Gotcha. Right. I just, we all talked about it in the intermission about just, at the end of the period, probably not necessary. It is what it is. Bruins get a shorthanded goal at the beginning of the second period, 11 seconds in, a perfect faceoff win by Pavel Zacha, beating Mark Scheifele in the faceoff circle, a faceoff play set in the ozone. You don't often get offensive zone faceoffs on the PK, and Elias Lindholm rips it by the blocker side of the goaltender, Connor Hellebuck, for his 9th of the year and ties it up. You're downstairs. You had to feel the vibe in the Garden finally, change. And all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, 2-2. Bruins played pretty okay in the first. Once they were down 2-0 and they got back into it, I thought they got their legs going. They got everything going. And then again in the second period, you're like, 2-2. This is going to be good.
That's exactly. That's exactly it. That was the vibe down low. That was the vibe in the building. It was just great grind and just exactly what we expect of this group is just to kind of hang around. If you're down and if you're up, then you keep putting the team in the vice on the other side. And two important players, Zaka, Lindholm. They had a good chance. They created a turnover to get that face off, and Zaka had a great opportunity as well. So, no, it felt really good the way they've been playing in the third periods at home. It was getting a vibe of and a good feeling of some kind of a comeback again.
But it didn't last long. 35-second mark. So 24 seconds later, Mark Scheifele gets his 31st goal of the season off of a breakout. The Bruins, no up ice pressure. Scheifele breaks the puck out. He slaloms Razor through the neutral zone. I mean, with good speed. And then there's a give and go with Nick Ehlers just out at the offensive blue line on the left wing side for the Winnipeg Jets. A give and go, and he beats Beecher, he being Scheifele. Also, Carlo comes over and now next thing you know, he gets through middle ice as he gets the puck back from Ehlers, he being Scheifele. He comes in middle left and he goes to his forehand and he beats the goaltender Korpisalo up high. The defenseman Zadorov is in the middle ice, but he can't get over quick enough and doesn't get over on Scheifele. That leads it in. But you want to talk about making it appear way too easy, literally from start to finish. That's exactly what the Winnipeg Jets there. And I mean, just a mammoth moment in this game, maybe not as big as the one about 30 seconds, 40, whatever seconds later, but we'll get to in a second. But that goal, it was just too easy. And given that the Bruins had also killed a penalty in the first period, pretty well, you were hoping for that, especially after tying the game up, but the reaction was anything but.
Yeah. I don't know exactly where all the break. I'd love to have I never saw a video of like all the way up top exactly where it was, but you're right. It was like a pregame skate where the guys had their sticks turned over, and we'll just do a little, power play entry work here, fellas. And two guys on one, no one came across the middle. Like they're just too good. It was just way too good to make it that easy to execute for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I mean, literally, one guy carried the puck from his own zone all the way up through middle ice, and then it was just, I'd actually turned away for a second to talk to somebody after seeing the Bruins go up, and you heard the groan. It was game altering right there, and you're like, come on, it's got to be tougher than that, but you'll see it. You'll go over it, and I'll get your opinion on it maybe off air later. But again, you've had way too many guys looking at the puck and not picking up a player. It's what it comes down to there. So then you're down 3-2 at that. That was at the 35-second mark of the second period. Of the third period, and then Ehlers scores a goal from in front of the net after Mason Lohrei takes the puck from behind the net and tries to beat him to go middle ice. Literally, he's behind his net. He curls up. He could rim the puck around to the right side. Instead, he tries to come right through middle ice, just past the crease. And Ehlers takes his stick, kind of faking outside, brings it back to the inside, doesn't even shoot the puck, Razor. He just ends up knocking it off of the stick of Lohrei, who tries to, again, skate by him. And there's no way that Korpisalo can get from his left to his right to cover in time for that. And absolute backbreaker there, 117 mark of the third in this game.
Yeah, that's the glaring one, unfortunately, for Mason. And it's you just can't. You fought back and you're completely in the game still. Again, I know that power play goal wasn't a good one, but it's like, okay, that's happened many times throughout history where score a shorty and the power play scores because they're a good power play and they go down the ice. And it's like, okay, you could have regrouped from that, but you can't regroup from a play like that. You just don't. And when it's back to back to back, it's that's the one that like Coach said, like everyone said, that's the one that really ends the game. You just can't come back from that, unfortunately. And unfortunately for Mason, it's another learning experience. Unfortunately for the team, they're working through Mason's learning experiences at certain times. And that's what that one is.
You know, with all the different teams that you've been on, different players that you've played with, you see something like that happen. I mean, this is probably not even a fair question because I'm assuming I know every team is different, having been on them. But from your experience at the NHL level, does anybody even need to say anything to him right there?
Nah. Yeah,
Nothing.
no, no, you definitely don't say anything, and if you make a mistake like that, in an NHL dressing room that the people are unhappy. So, but no, there isn't anyone. If anything, someone at some point just taps you on the shin pads. All right, you got to finish this game, dude. You got 18 minutes left. You can't worry about it now. So let's get this thing going.
So the Ehlers goal at the 117 mark. So you had 3 goals scored in a minute and 17 of that third period. That was the Killers 4-2. A couple of minutes later, 5:57 to be exact, Parker Ford played his college hockey at Providence College, teammates actually with Michael Callahan there, and then has been in Winnipeg playing for the Manitoba Moose in the American League, doing very well lately, and that's the reason he got called up. I'm going to assume it may have also worked out just coincidentally well. I mean, it's amazing how it works out like that they're playing in Boston for his first NHL game. Kid gets his first goal. Iafallo and Stanley on the assist. He gets it from the low slot area off to the blocker side of Korpisalo. Congratulations. It was, listen, I know he's on the other team and everything, but the cameras caught his whole family and you could hear them rooting and, cheering and everything. And I'm assuming it was his dad and they were hugging and stuff. It was a great moment. I mean, it's cool. You have to appreciate and respect that. That made it 5-2 and then an empty net goal by Kyle Connor at the 1923 mark. Made it 6-2. Final shots in the game, 27 for the Winnipeg Jets, 29 for the Bruins. Power plays. Winnipeg, again, the number 1 team in the NHL, folks. 2 for 4 on the power play. The Bruins, 1 for 3 on the power play. All right, that's your game summary there. We'll talk about a couple of things before we wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Let's quickly talk about our sponsors that make this show possible. Graciano Construction, serving Boston, a lot of the greater Metro West area. And you know what? They'll go some other distance too for you. Is Graciano Construction. They are the contractor. They're going to help you refresh, revitalize, remake your space. They can and they will do it all different kinds of projects. Doug Graciano and his crew, his brother Andre is fantastic as well. They come around, they talk with you, not to you. They make sure that you're happy with every little thing that's going on. They'll leave you with a little surprise too often at the end of every job, that something you may not have thought of, but they'll say, hey, we thought you might like this. They're just outstanding. Check out GracianoConstruction.com or call 508-330-7589. Graciano Construction is the place that you want to go to refresh and revitalize your space. The place you want to go as well, Razor, if you want to lease, buy, or sell a place in Mass, Rhode Island, or New Hampshire, is RTN Realty for all your real estate needs. Chris Gentile runs RTN Realty. He's got a staff of 16 agents and support people. They've got you covered for everything you're looking to do. Nothing is too big or small for RTN Realty. They handle all different types of transactions, over 2,500 transactions for Chris in his 22 years in the real estate world is what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody like Chris and his crew. They are going to trust, and you can trust them, and they'll listen to you for what you're looking. Email Chris at cgentile@rtnrealty.com or call him at 617-835-0845. And our other sponsor is Apex Entertainment. Most entertaining moment for me, I'm going to say the shorty, but it was a short-lived most entertaining moment. Is there anything else is there a
No, that was the one for me. That was what made me feel the best in the evening. And again, but it was all signs, all arrows pointing up at that point in the game, literally.
You had a great view from your spot on that one.
It was just a great play, just a great shot, like just exactly what you thought you could, you thought what Elias Lindholm and still can be going forward, I think, but that's what you thought you were going to get from home opening night on. So yeah, certainly that's my best moment of the night. Apex Entertainment night of the night.
Check out apexentertainment.com. Apex Entertainment, 100,000 square feet of pure fun. It's located up in Marlboro. Go check it out. By the way, if you didn't get to see the goal or whatever, the face-off was on the Bruins offensive right wing circle. Pavel Zacha, a lefty centerman, going in against Mark Scheifele, a big right-handed shot centerman. Nikita Zadorov, the defenseman, is actually in the left winger spot. They put him up there, and they put Elias Lindholm on the inside part of that face-off circle. And, I mean, Zacha wins it perfectly. Almost like, when I say shockingly easy, it's not that Pavel can't win him. What I'm saying is I thought that Scheifele would actually just try and swat it since he's on his forehand there and probably go towards the wall with it. Instead, he loses it, and it's like executed perfectly by Pavel Zacha right into the one-time capabilities of Elias Lindholm. And as I said earlier, he ripped it by the blocker side of Connor Hellebuck. Speaking of Connor, from your expert eyes, what makes him so damn good? You know, what makes him right now, in my eyes, best goalie in the NHL?
I don't know. I don't know. There isn't anything special that, like that. I guess, of course he has great hockey IQ. Of course, it's got to be the intangibles, but he's big and he gets to his spot pretty well, but he's not the best skater or the best. He doesn't have the best hands or the fastest or and that's why there's question marks on him, I think.
And they haven't won the playoffs either.
He's never won in the playoffs because of
Right.
that. He's not Sergei Bobrovsky or Shesterkin or Vasil. I'm taking all those guys still over him.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and I don't mean right now, like, holy, he's the numbers and so you're right on the best goalie, but I'm saying if you need a win, he hasn't done that for his team. He hasn't gone far in the playoffs. He hasn't played. He hasn't won a round. Like what happened last year, especially, like that's very close in everyone's mind. He gave up 6 goals every game in the playoffs last year. So, so he's got to get over all that stuff, but he's just a workhorse. He's very consistent. His game allows him to be consistent because he doesn't move very much. He doesn't go very far. And of course, the circumstance in front of him right now is pretty good too.
You're downstairs today. There has to be frustration, and we know that, obviously. No crap, right? We know that. But being around the guys, are you sensing that, like, what the heck? And I'm keeping it clean here. You know what I mean? Are you sensing any of that in game and stuff? Is it eerily quiet, or are you hearing anything and stuff? Like, give me the vibe check from down there, because you're right on the glass, you're right around the room, etc.
Yeah, tonight there was really no there was no snapping. There was no one losing their minds from what I heard or saw. I get the sense that they truly believe they're really close. I get the sense they truly believe that they think can get into the playoffs and be a difficult out. I think they are frustrated that they're working really hard and they're not getting the breaks, or they're not getting the one play or the 2 plays that are putting them over the top. And I think they're working really hard thinking that they're close. And then all of a sudden the last 2 games, like they felt like they were close both games and they lose 6-2 and 7-2. I don't love the empty netters, to be honest. Like that's kind of, it bothered me tonight. I think 5,
Did you need to pull the goaltender at 5-2?
That's what I mean. It just wasn't.
I don't think you needed to.
Tonight, again, I get it doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter, but I feel like it does some nights. Just every once in a while, let the analytics out the window, and you're not coming back on Winnipeg at 5-2 with 3 minutes left. You're not, and there's no need to make it 6-2, because it wasn't a 5. It was a 3-2 game. That's what it was. It was a 3-2 hockey game against the best team in the league, and that would have just felt better. Some way, somehow, I believe in losses feeling different. I think it just would have, if they had a few chances at the end to almost close it out at 3-2, or 4, it just would have been different. But so, anyways, that's my vibe. That's the way I feel it. These guys have certainly not. these guys are certainly not waiting for the deadline to have a bunch of guys sold off. There aren't guys in the room thinking, "Oh, I can't wait. I really hope I get dealt." Like, I really want to be on the move here at the deadline. I've been on those teams before where you want to get out of there because you're not going anywhere, and you know that, and you want a chance somewhere else. That's kind of the furthest I get from this room.
The other night, we talked about it. Other people talked about it too. Despite the fact the Bruins lost in Buffalo and they got beat big, 7-2, every other team around them lost. Not so much the case tonight. Not 100% that way, but the Islanders won. They beat Florida. The Islanders are like, I don't know if they're for real or not, but you know what I mean in the end. But they're right there. They're 3 points behind the Bees, Razor. And they got a couple of games in hand. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they shut out the LA Kings. The Ottawa Senators, they beat the Washington Capitals. I do believe Ovechkin scored in that game as well. Another goal, if I remember, was it 1 or 2? It was 1 goal in that game. But the Senators win again. Montreal Canadiens didn't win. The Minnesota Wild beat them. We're going to see the Wild coming up. And as we sit and record this show very late night, there's still games going on. The Red Wings, well, actually, they just won. They wanted a shootout over the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton, and Columbus is hanging in there with the Vegas Golden Knights. And so for as good as the other night was for the Bruins, helpful, I should say, this night's going to go against them, it looks like, for the most part. And I know and I said the same thing on air, like, we put up the standings all the time, but you got to, because you just where you're at, but this won't, I don't think it'll feel good, look good, Razor, after this night, considering how many teams around them picked up points on them.
Yeah. I mean, you can't lose. 2 nights in 2 games in a row. Someone's going to pick up points on you. You're not going to get lucky, or teams aren't going. All the teams aren't going to lose 5 in a row at one time. So you can't lose 2 in a row, and can't lose 3 in a row, and you can't lose 4 in a row. So, but again, I don't. They got to get. You got to get through this break. You got to find a way to get to the break. It's going to be a difference. I keep saying that. And I really think that that's the case in this league. I think there's going to be a couple of these teams that fall off, and a couple teams that come flying out of the gates. And so yeah, we'll look at the standings again on Saturday after whatever game it is. And but it's going to be the stretch run after this break. So they got to find a way to get a couple wins. And the other teams are going to win. The other teams are going to get points.
Couple of things to go over before we wrap up this show. We talked about Geeky, Pasta, Zaka doing so well through 2 periods. They all end up -3 in the game. It has a lot to do with being out there at the end. Charlie McAvoy ends up -3 as well. He played 21-41 after missing 7 games in about 16 days. Any thoughts on what you thought of his performance?
Oh, I thought he skated well. I thought he moved around pretty well. Certainly, he took a minus on Mason Lowry's adventure to the front of the net. He took a minus on the next goal that he had his, he had his proverbial guy. There was another, again, Mason was swimming in front of the net again on that one, and then the empty netter. So he goes -3 in the third, and so does Pasta, and so does Geeky. Like that's where they went. So that for back to Charlie, I didn't notice him make any mistakes. I thought he had a couple of good opportunities on the power play, or not on the power play. Sorry, offensively. So no, I thought it was a good back into the game. How many minutes did he get over 20? I didn't see
21. He had 21-41 in the game, 4 shots on goal.
Yeah, it was good. Solid.
It was solid. Yeah, it was solid. I look forward to the day, though, seeing him when he's more physical, like we've seen him be at times. As I like to call it, beast mode at times. Man, he's a ferocious hitter when he does it, and we haven't seen a lot of that this season. And I hope that element of the game come back. Pasternak in this game, I already mentioned -3, but he only had 2 shots on goal, but he had 9 other attempts, 7 that listed as missed shots. I thought Winnipeg actually a couple of times forced him just to barely miss the net. He had 2 others that were blocked, so he ended up having 11 attempts in the game. Again, he was all around. The Bruins win in the faceoff circle, 41-23. They really took it to the Winnipeg Jets in the faceoff circle. They did a nice job there. Mason Lowry, if let me ask you this: if Hampus Lindholm is healthy, I'm playing the, the hypothetical game. But would this be the type of game, Razor, you think if they had that healthy, number 27, that maybe Mason would watch in the next game? Or do you just got to keep playing the young guy because he hasn't even played 100 games in the NHL yet, and does he just have to keep learning these tough lessons, or do you every once in a while going to have to say, hey, you're going to have to sit and watch?
I think every once in a while he still hasn't played enough games where you can't sit him down and you have to watch. I would expect, though, they would love to get their 6 guys that they thought on opening night or was on opening night back together. So I could imagine them keeping those 6 guys, and Wotherspoon would check out when Lindholm gets back in.
Yeah. Don't know if Hampus Lindholm will come in before the break. There's hope that he can come in before the break if he could get a game or two there. But he even said that he's going to have to be really smart about it. You don't want to take a chance. So you feel 99% good. That's one thing if you're playing in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to take a chance with it right now. I hope he can. The Bruins play Saturday. Then they have back-to-back games Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And then they finish up their last game on Saturday, February 8th against the Vegas Golden Knights at home. Maybe he can get in. Maybe he can get in the Wednesday and Saturday game. Who knows? But progressing well, but going to need a little more. All right, speaking of this Saturday, one more reminder, Razor and I are going to be, and RC is going to be at Heritage Hall, which is inside TD Garden. If you have a ticket, you're coming to the game on Saturday, and you want to check out Heritage Hall if you haven't, or if you want to come say hi to us doing a show from 2 to 2:45. We're going to do a live brew, a pregame morning brew with Jaffe and Razor, talking that we may even, the governor might swing by, he was saying now. So we may even get a little BP, a little Barry Peterson, which would be fantastic, coming by to say hi. There'll be some giveaways there too. Neston's bringing some stuff. We may even have a few little things as well. Come on by, check it out. Heritage Hall is pretty cool. They've done a great job there. There is a fee to get in. You can buy tickets online. You can buy tickets there as well. But if you have a ticket to the game against the Rangers and you want to come a little early, come check out Live Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We will be there. Looking forward to that. All right. The Bruins lose 6-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to do a pregame brew on Saturday. We are not going to do a postgame one. And then we'll let you know when the next morning brew is going to be. I know it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember which one we are going to do. Hang in there, folks. Let's see if they can get a victory on Saturday. And in the meantime, enjoy your coffee.